Good morning. I'm Julie Ladd, Executive Director of Full Circle Medical Center for Women in Athens, Tennessee. We are a pregnancy medical clinic, so we are able to minister to the women of our community through medical services, specifically pregnancy testing and sonograms and parenting classes. So those are some of the things that we do. Today is Sanctity of Human Life Sunday, and we like to set aside a time to memorialize and honor the lives that have been lost because of the Roe versus Wade decision in 1973 to legalize abortion on demand. And this has been a problem in our country, and this has been devastating for our country. And so today, I just wanted to talk to you for a couple of minutes about how the Lord sees abortion and how we as the church should respond to abortion. Our theme this year at Full Circle is Esther 4:14. Perhaps you were created for such a time as this. And you probably know this story, but what I would like to kind of back up and focus on is Mordecai in the story. Mordecai was Esther's cousin who had taken her in when her parents died, and Mordecai was Esther's supporter all the way until she got into the palace. He still stood outside the court and gave her guidance and helped her even after she was in the royal position. Where the story takes an evil turn is where Haman, one of the king's advisors, had been promoted in the ranks and essentially signed in a law that said that all of the people had to worship him. But Mordecai, being a man of God, refused to worship anybody that wasn't the one true God. This angered Haman, and Haman went to King Xerxes and asked if he could make a law where the Jews would be completely annihilated, and made a case with the king, and the king allowed it. So when Mordecai heard that Haman was signing this decree that all of the Jews would be annihilated, that the lives of his people were literally all going to be taken, Mordecai was devastated, and he did not hesitate one moment to speak out against it. He dressed in sackcloth and ashes. He stood in the streets and wailed loudly. He went as far as the gates to the court. He couldn't go into the courtyard because people that were mourning could not go into the courtyard, but he went as far as he could, as close as he could to the king, and cried and wailed and wept loudly for his people. So you can imagine when people would see him out, they would tell him to clean up and put on regular clothes and to stop his mourning, but he refused, and he would tell people why he was so upset. So the thing that Mordecai did was he spoke out. He spoke out against injustice, and he spoke out against the lives of his people being taken. Mordecai, however, was not in a position where he could go to the king. Esther was. So Mordecai was able to send a message to Esther and tell her to go to the king and speak out specifically to him and make a change and do something about it, make a difference, because she was in the palace. Mordecai represents the church in this story. Mordecai spoke out, rallied the prayer warriors, supported Esther. He wasn't necessarily in a position to be on the front lines, but he was in the role of empowering and praying for and supporting Esther. Esther was in a position where she was on the front lines, where she could go straight to the king and talk to the king about what was going on. Esther in the story represents Full Circle and the many pregnancy centers that are much like Full Circle, that are on the front lines really doing something about abortion. We're able to intervene in abortion decisions. We're able to speak to young people about abstinence and sexual risk avoidance and how to prevent unplanned pregnancies. We're adding medical services such as STI testing and abortion pill reversal, where we're going to be able to intervene in the lives of women before an unplanned pregnancy begins. Or before an abortion happens. We have a mobile unit now where we're able to go out to the women who need our services, out into a different market and out into our own community as well. So we are on the front lines, and we thank you, church, for being our Mordecai. Esther needed Mordecai, and Mordecai needed Esther, just like Full Circle needs the church. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for allowing us to come alongside you and our community.